That's the hobby shop that got me in trouble. I'm sure a lot of RC car guys say that. That's RC Excitement in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. Awesome shop, completely loaded from wall to wall with RC stuff. And it's where I saw the Blackzon RC cars just loaded up on the shelves. They had them in stock for the holidays. And I had to get one. I already reviewed one on the channel. I got another one to check out. This time it's the Smyter Turbo. $170, 112 scale, 4-wheel drive, and brushless. They actually have a brushed version available too for $115. But I want to go for the speed. So let's check this thing out. Got the Smyter Turbo out of the box, and check it out, guys. This thing is a decent size. Wow, look at this thing. 12 scale and up, that's when you start really laying down some power, and I think it's gonna really push this brushless system. Looks like it's 3S capable too. Does come with a 2S battery pack, comes with this radio system, 2.4 gig, got your trims up top there, even steering dual rate. Does have a USB charger. You're gonna have to supply 3 AA batteries for the radio system, and you're actually gonna have to apply the decals on your own. I already applied the decals because I did an Instagram post on this. But let's get back to the truck. Definitely like the wing on the back. I always think it's cool when they throw a wing on the back of a truck or buggy. Front bumper looking pretty good. There's some LED lights in there, and body clips, not a problem. Makes it easier to get the body out. But check this out. They actually have the lights on this tethered cord. So you got room to go and move this thing around when you go and replace the battery pack. That's pretty awesome, but not too bad of a look to the body, and they have different colors available. And again, there is a brush model if you want to save a few bucks. Now here is the truck itself. Similar to some other cars that we've seen out here before, this is a shared platform, but Blackzon is an HPI racing brand, and I got this car through Hobby Recreation Products. These guys stock all the parts for it, and that's key. You definitely want to make sure you got parts for your RC cars, and they're going to have that stuff in stock. So we got double wishbone suspension front and rear, oil-filled shocks. So we've got some decent damping here. At least they're not friction. Actually, the rear seems a little bit dead, but look at this. We could just go and adjust these preload collars, bring this up to where it needs to be, and that'll be just fine. The suspension arm's got a little bit of flex to it. Captured pivot balls out at the steering knuckles in the front. I can even see aluminum hexes at the end there. Ball bearings throughout this. Chassis looks like it's got some decent bracing. Maybe could use a little bit more up front. Hopefully it just holds up to those nose dives. But even this center tube here where the shaft goes through for the 4-wheel drive, that's all braced up. You got some hexes on the side here, so there's no center flex. Dual bell crank steering setup. It looks like the servo has a servo saver. I'd like to see something a little bit stronger than that. I don't know how that's gonna hold up. Look at that, we've got a lot of flex in that servo saver, so it's not gonna give us that precise steering, but maybe the servo, it's a plastic geared servo, so that's why they do that. But the drivetrain on this actually is looking pretty good as well. So it's got HD metal gears, 4 gears inside the differential itself. They're just rocking some grease inside, but it does have CVs in the front, dog bones in the rear, metal out drives as well. So that's the type of stuff you're gonna wanna see when you're buying a car, especially one with a brushless system in it. Even the center shaft is metal. Then the electronics here, kind of generic looking servo. There's your speed controller receiver combo. It does have a fan on top, and then a 4200 kV motor with a nice heat sink on top. Oh, by the way, I think I mentioned it before. This is a 2 to 3S capable speed controller. Got a cat pack on there to help stabilize it. Then they give you a 1600 milliamp 2S LiPo battery pack. Is that an HV pack? No, that's just a standard 7.4 volt. Not too bad. Check out the tires, a little squishy. I think they got a foam insert on the inside. Definitely like the two-tone wheels. We need to drive this, guys. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Let's get this fired up. Radio on first, and then it's got this push button right here, easy to access. Some beep tones. We're ready to roll. Let's trim it out. You usually got to trim out a ready to run just a little bit. All right, guys, time to light it up. Four-wheel drive desert truck action. There's our power. Not bad for a 2S. 4200 kV, yeah, that's about on par where it needs to be. Through the infield here, I think we're gonna have to get this one muddy. But I'm gonna rock it through the dirt first. All right, here we go. Over the jump. It's a little light air time there. Oh, like how it's spraying up the dirt. So the differentials, they just have some grease inside, and I can definitely tell they need something a little bit more substantial in there. I don't think they're sealed, so a really heavy grease I think would just help hook the car up a little bit more. But you know what, for the guys that are just having fun, Doing some occasional donuts here and there is all that's gonna happen. And that adds to the fun, right? You absolutely see this just bash around in yards, down at the local park. Really easy RC to get into. I would say just make sure you get yourself a decent charger, because that USB charger, it takes too much time to charge battery packs. And grab yourself an extra pack. That heat sink on the motor, the cooling fan on the ESC. It's not going to take too long between cool downs. That's actually fun. I'm having to wheel it a little bit just to keep it in line. That rear end, I think we might need to add a little bit more preload. It's just sagging a little bit. There's always a plane flying by whenever I'm shooting, so I gotta stop and wait. All right, now we gotta get some air time. That plane just motivated me to get some air with this thing. Yeah, there we go. Wow, that thing flies pretty good. Now I'm really getting into it. See if it flies well again. Yeah, that's awesome. This thing jumps great. This is where it's at. All right, get yourself a good jump. You're gonna have a blast with this car. I mean, this is a good all-around truck. For a small size truck, it's just a little loose. You're gonna hone your driving in with it too. Just a little counter steering. It's actually a lot of fun. Sometimes I concentrate too much on like the raceability of it. And I gotta just kick it back down to having fun. Yeah! Big crash, landing on all fours. Loving the Smyter Turbo. Box says it's waterproof, so I gotta run it through the mud. It's kind of mandatory. Oh, through the ice. That's gotta be a big cleanup later. Serious cleanup. Yeah, I think it clicks all the boxes for a fun RC truck. What kind of speeds are we gonna get out of the Blackzon Turbo? We're gonna find out. Fire up the GNSS, and here we go. Just up and down the parking lot. I'm guessing 23, 24. I've been off on my speed guesses lately. Do a little flyby for you guys. Got a lot of brake in that, like initial brake, tons of it. Just locks up those wheels. Okay, and we got 24 miles an hour. If you're just looking for some simple RC fun, I think the Smyter Turbo is definitely something to check out. At $170, I think it's pretty fairly priced. I mean, we've got a brushless system in there, 2S battery pack. You know, I would just say get yourself a good charger. I'll have a link for one in the video description below. That way you can just charge battery packs quicker. But the truck itself, pretty quick, 24 miles an hour, jumps really well, and it put up with that water test. I threw the thing in the back of my truck and actually just took it out a couple days later. Everything is still working fine, so it is waterproof. But check this out, guys. Just got some ramps in from jeffdidit.com. He's got a bunch of different ramps for all sorts of uses, including, you know, small scale cars like this. So definitely check out his website if you're looking for some small scale ramps to go launch your RC off of.